Have you ever transplanted cucumbers? Done everything right, and then the next morning they look like wet paper towels? The leaves are drooping, the plant is sitting there doing nothing, and your first thought is, should I water it again? Should I fertilize it? Did I kill it? Most of the time, the problem is not what you forgot to do. It is what you are about to do too much of. Cucumbers are not tomatoes. Tomatoes can take a little rough treatment. Cucumbers are more sensitive. They hate cold soil. They hate soggy roots. They hate stale, hot air, and they really do not like being messed with right after transplanting. So today, let's keep this simple. Here is what to do with cucumbers during the first 7 days after planting them outside, in a raised bed, in a greenhouse, or under a small tunnel. Day 1 and Day 2. You transplant the cucumber, water it well at planting time, and then you step away. That is the whole job for the first couple of days. Do not keep checking it every hour. Do not pour more water on top just because the leaves look tired. Do not start feeding it because you are nervous. Right after transplanting, the roots are stressed. The plant is not drinking the way it did before. It has to settle into the new soil first. If the soil was moist when you planted, leave the watering can alone. What the plant needs right now is not more attention. It needs steady conditions. The one thing you should watch closely is temperature. In many parts of the United States, spring weather can be tricky. The day can feel like summer, but the night can still be too cold for cucumbers. In a greenhouse or small hoop house, the opposite can also happen. By lunchtime, it can get way too hot. If the greenhouse is closed up and it feels like a sauna, open it. Ventilation matters more than extra watering in those first days. A cucumber can wilt in afternoon heat even when the soil is moist. That does not always mean it needs water. Sometimes it just needs air. At night, check the forecast. If temperatures are dropping below about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, especially in cooler regions, cover the plants with lightweight row cover or frost cloth. In a greenhouse, you can still cover them inside the structure. A small hoop and row cover can save young cucumbers from a cold night. If the next morning the leaves look a little pale or slightly curled, the plant probably got chilled. That is not always a disaster, but it is better to prevent it. Day 3 and Day 4. Now you start watching the plant, not just the soil. Here is what is normal. It is normal if the leaves droop a little during the hottest part of the day. Cucumbers lose moisture through their leaves faster than tomatoes do. So if the plant looks tired at 3 in the afternoon, do not panic. Check it in the morning. If the leaves are back up and the plant looks firm again, it is doing its job. It is also normal if you do not see much new growth yet. The plant may be working underground. It is building roots before it starts pushing out new leaves. You may not see that work, but it matters. It is also normal if one of the lower leaves turns a little yellow or looks beat up. That lower leaf often takes the stress from transplanting first. Look at the growing tip and the newest leaves. If the top of the plant is alive and the young leaves look healthy, the plant is still moving in the right direction. Now, here is when you should pay closer attention. If the cucumber is wilted early in the morning, not just during afternoon heat, something is off. If the leaves are turning pale all over, yellowing fast, or the growing tip looks dead, check 3 things. Check the soil temperature, check the moisture deeper down, and check the air movement around the plant. Most early cucumber problems come from one of those 3. Now let's talk about watering on Day 3 or Day 4. Do not judge by the surface of the soil. The top can dry out quickly, especially in raised beds, containers, or sandy soil. Put your finger into the soil a couple of inches deep. If it is still moist down there, do not water. If it is dry, give the plant a modest drink. About a quart or two per plant is usually enough for a young transplant. Do not turn the bed into mud. Cucumbers like steady moisture, but they do not like sitting in cold, soggy soil. One more important thing. Do not dig or loosen the soil right next to the stem. This is a very common mistake. Cucumber roots are shallow. They spread near the surface. If you start scratching around the base of the plant, you can damage the tiny new roots it is trying to grow. If the soil crusts over and you really need to loosen it, do it farther away from the stem. Even better, wait until the plant is settled. Then use a light mulch to keep the soil surface from drying out too fast. Day 5, Day 6, and Day 7. By now, the cucumber should start showing signs that it has accepted its new home. The growing tip is still alive. A new leaf is starting to open. The stem stands a little firmer. The plant looks good in the morning, may droop slightly during the hot part of the day, and then recovers again in the evening. That is exactly what you want to see. If this is happening, do not interfere. Do not fertilize just because a week has passed. Cucumbers do not need feeding by the calendar. They need feeding when they have actually rooted in and started growing. If your planting hole or bed already had compost, aged manure, or a light starter fertilizer mixed in before planting, that is enough for now. The roots are still getting established. If you pour fertilizer on a stressed plant too early, it may not use it well, and you can make things worse. Wait until the second week, when you see real new growth. That is the time to think about feeding. If by day 7, the plant still has not grown much, but it is alive, the leaves are holding, the color is decent, and the growing tip is not dead, do not panic. Check the soil temperature. This is a big one in the United States, especially in northern states, the Midwest, the Northeast, mountain areas, and anywhere spring soil warms up slowly. Cucumbers may sit still in cold soil even if the air feels warm. If the soil is under about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, the plant is probably waiting. Cucumbers really start moving when the soil is warm, usually closer to the mid-60s and above. Tomatoes can handle cool soil better. Cucumbers cannot. In hotter regions, like the South, parts of Texas, Arizona, or California's inland valleys, the problem may be different. The soil may be warm enough, but the young plant can get hit with too much sun and heat too quickly. In that case, afternoon shade for a couple of days, good ventilation, and steady moisture can help more than extra fertilizer. So here is the simple first week plan. Day 1 and Day 2. Plant, water well once, and leave the plant alone. Watch the heat during the day and protect it from cold at night. Day 3 and Day 4. Look at the plant in the morning. Check moisture a couple of inches below the surface. Water only if it is truly dry. Do not disturb the roots near the stem. Day 5 through Day 7. Look for signs that the plant has settled in. A living, growing tip, a new leaf, a firmer stem, and a plant that recovers in the evening are all good signs. If you see growth, stay calm and let it work. If you do not see growth, check soil temperature and your watering routine before you reach for fertilizer. That is the whole system. No magic mix, no 5 different bottles, no panic watering. During the first week, a cucumber plant does not need a heroic rescue. It needs warmth, air, steady moisture, and a gardener who knows when to leave it alone.